Dealing with loss and grief over the holiday season can be particularly painful because it's that time of year full of memories and traditions. Whether you are walking through a recent loss or you're a lot further down that road, then this video is for you. I have 8 tips that are going to make the holiday season way more manageable for you. I've experienced a lot of bereavements in my life, but none so more impactful than losing my dad. And I'll be honest, I struggle really hard over the holidays, even though he's been gone for 10 years. I say this so you know that I get it. Even though every loss is unique, I know how gut-wrenching and heavy it can feel sometimes. And these 8 tips have really helped me. Tip number 1, allow yourself to grieve. It is essential to acknowledge your feelings and not suppress them. Grief is a natural response to loss, and it's okay to feel sadness and anger and even moments of joy and laughter when you're thinking about your loved one during this holiday season. Give yourself permission to feel and express your emotions. This is something that I've really had to learn to do because I am someone who naturally keeps everything in. I bottle everything up. And especially when it came to my dad, I used to suppress my grief a lot. And it just made things worse, let me tell you. Also, by allowing yourself to really feel your grief, you might actually find that the amount of time you feel the emotion the strongest actually becomes a lot less because you're not trying to just bottle everything up. When you actually have those feelings of grief, you feel them. You don't just prolong it. Tip number 2, create new traditions. Consider creating new holiday traditions or even modifying existing ones to honor the memory of your loved one. This can be a really meaningful way to keep them alive in your hearts while also trying to find a new sense of normalcy during the holidays. For quite a few years after we lost my dad, my mom, my brother, and I used to actually celebrate Christmas in onesies. Actually, maybe just mom and I. And we literally spent all Christmas in them drinking champagne, and it was great. It is so important to not only keep hold of some meaningful traditions, but to create new ones. Don't be afraid of that. It's actually really cathartic. Tip number 3. Don't be afraid to ask for help and support. Please, 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 please utilize people that you trust during the holidays to give you love and support when you need it most. There are going to be people around you who can offer you comfort, understanding, and companionship. And you are going to need this during the holidays. It's also great to have friends that can offer you distraction and laughter. You know, laughter is the closest space between 2 people. And oftentimes when you're really struggling with grief, humor and laughing can be a huge release. Also, if you are someone like me who's like, well, I don't really want to bother people with how I'm feeling, like I don't really want to ask for help, then I really implore you to change that mindset. I really had to do a lot of work in this area because I have wrestled with this a lot. I have come to realize the hard way that I really do need people. I can't do this alone, especially during the holidays. And you know, when you're trying to do it alone, when you're just trying to cope, you actually rob your friends and family an opportunity to love on you, to support you. And actually, a lot of times, it helps those people grieve as well. Tip number 4, set boundaries. Guess what, guys? It's okay to say no to invitations or to limit your commitments during the holiday season. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to say yes to everything. Take care of yourself and prioritize your well-being. Maybe for a few years, you don't do everything that you used to do, and that's absolutely okay. On the flip side though, don't isolate yourself either, because that will do way more harm than good. Trust me, I've been there. I would recommend making a list of events or activities that you really want to do over the holidays and concentrate on doing those. You don't need to say yes to everyone, and you also don't always need to give a reason why. You know, a part of being a mature adult is learning that your no doesn't always have to come with like a reason why or an excuse. You can just say no. You don't need to say yes to everything, especially if you are dealing with a fresh bereavement. You need to pace yourself. That's so important. Tip number 5, memorialize your loved one. There are so many ways that you can do this. You can light a candle in their memory. You can create a scrapbook or write them a letter. When I used to live really close to my dad's grave, because he was German and a lot of people in Europe actually celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve, we used to go up to his grave and lay a wreath on Christmas Eve. And that would just be a little thing that we used to do every year to stop and just remember him. Planning activities, however simple, that allow you to express your love and remember the people that you've lost can be hugely therapeutic, and it really does keep them present during the holiday traditions. Tip number 6, plan ahead. I wish I had taken this tip more seriously earlier on in my journey with grief because my dad actually died like 5 weeks before Christmas. It's really important to consider the specific aspects of the holiday season and any traditions that you might have that are going to be the most challenging for you and create a plan around them. This could include avoiding certain events for a while, or, and this is key, preparing responses to common questions and comments that you might get from family and friends that may be triggering. It's okay to say, thank you for your concern, but that's not really something that I want to talk about right now. Protect your peace. This is so crucial. You are responsible for protecting your peace. Planning ahead and being practical will go a long way, I promise you, to helping you get through the next couple months. Number 7, practice self-compassion. Be patient with yourself and understand that grieving is a unique process. Even if you, like me, have been through multiple bereavements, each bereavement is different, each loss is unique, and each one is going to affect you differently. Also, there is no right way to grieve. As long as you are not harming yourself or others, there is no right way to grieve. And let me give you full permission to have good and bad days. Totally normal. You have not failed because you have had a bad day and you actually don't feel like getting out of bed. Be kind to yourself. In fact, this is the number one thing that I say to people who are going through loss. Be kind to yourself. I really wish that someone would have told me this when I was going through everything with my dad. You have been through trauma, okay? You are going to be experiencing an incredible amount of emotional pain. Practice some self-compassion and also self-care. That's so important. This will 100% give you endurance during the holiday season. Whatever works for you to feel good and to feel comforted and to feel loved, do that. If it means eating a massive chocolate bar in a bubble bath of a scent that you really love, then do it. It is okay to indulge in some comforts. Be kind to yourself. Number 8, seek professional help if you need it. Now, this tip is super, super important. If you have grief that is feeling overwhelming and you actually feel like it's consuming you, like it's just heavier than you can actually handle, I strongly and lovingly encourage you to seek professional help from either a therapist or a counselor who specialize in grief and loss. Now, I've definitely had to do this when I just couldn't cope with my grief. I was so depressed. Getting help is not a form of defeat and is certainly not a sign of weakness. In fact, I think it's the opposite. If you feel like you need help and you're proactive and you go and get help, then I think you are one of the strongest people that I know. No matter what happens during this holiday season, I want you to know that you're not alone. Millions of people just like you are struggling, and we really do have to look out for one another. So remember to be kind to the people around you. You have no idea what someone is going through, and you have no idea what world of hurt that they're in because they're going through loss. Make sure you give that subscribe button a big squeeze and share this video with someone you know who's trying to navigate grief and loss during this holiday season.
I'm running out of time, every day goes by so fast, and every moment counts, baby, I don't wanna miss a thing.